Hey guys, welcome back to I guess we'll call it episode 4 right now. We're going through the association creation, the Torchbearer Society. Last episode, we've kind of formulated a direction that the society is going in and formulating the ties that bind these characters together. And we started kind of breaking that out into a table that we could use. So I now have the screen updated to where now you should be able to see the table. Which way would that be? That way. It's right over there. There's the table we've been working on. Um, we're basically just putting together how our characters are tied to the society, and then make sure that it flows. So far, we've got a bunch of information here on the table that we can kind of take a look at and preview. Um, let's see here. So we had thought that a military connection could work pretty well with this scenario, namely because we would be able to bring in a whole cross section of people because of their connection to one military person or another. So, that could be why a Russian bearman and a bunch of middle-class humans and a military man of highborn status is going to be working together. So, great stuff. Everybody is just doing awesome. I love being able to just sit back and saying, "Go forth, my minions, and create." So I do enjoy it.
Even now, I'm thinking about it. Thinking about the fact that none of us would be other than Blackwell. None of us are military.
Right.
Absolutely, none of us are military, and I think that would probably be beneficial to have a military connection, because there's always that stuff that the military needs to have happen, but they don't want to be tied to, especially in this day and age when military rank was for the nobility.
Right.
So I just imagine that Blackwell would be kind of our liaison with the military.
Oh,
because they don't want to actually associate with us.
It's like the Suicide Squad.
Right. We're like the guys doing the stuff that the military doesn't want to dirty their hands with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's wise, because military stories in RPGs I've always found fairly difficult to do. Having the little commando band or something like that goes forth and does things kind of in a non-military way is generally the kind of military stories I've been in. But an actual military where we're all rank and file and members and stuff, I think would be a very different story. So I think it sounds good.
It would work, but we'd all have to buy into that.
Yeah. It's kind of like deciding if you're going to have an all bards squad or if you're going to have an all rogues squad.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I love bards, but no one should.
Listen,
I love bards, but no one should ever do an all bards squad.
Yes. See, that's the thing, though, is that the only thing I could think of, and you guys may have more experience with different systems, and we're diverging. I'm so sorry, folks at home. Please bear with us. But the only way I could think of that a whole bards group could work would possibly be in Pathfinder, because of all of the different variations and archetypes that you can have. But eventually it just does kind of become a band. Somebody's playing a vihuela or a guitar, somebody's playing the big huge drum. There's
Hey, I can bring it back. It won't be a total tangent, because Victoriana is basically has that reputation of being steampunk Shadowrun.
Sure.
And I know for a fact that there's a podcast that talks about their Shadowrun game, where their cover story as Shadowrunners was that they were a band.
Yep, I know exactly the one you're talking about. So yeah, it could work. It could work, but not right here. We're doing something completely different. So, all right, no, but this is really forming up really well. All right, so we've got a few entries here. We've got Dove has Commodore Byron Sotheby. So why don't you kind of list out how do the connections fit for you there, Dove?
My connection is Commodore Byron Sotheby. He is an upper-class human. He is RAF, 1st Wyvern Squadron, retired. He doesn't have as many. Basically, the only people he has in the military left are friends of his. Like, he doesn't have a lot of pull himself anymore. He just has guys that are still in the rank and file that he knows. He is now more of a patron of the arts. He has used his retirement to just gather amazing stuff, and especially donating it to the museum.
Okay.
So that would be as our little band of misfits meets in the reading room of the British Library or the museum. It makes sense that such a man that has such pull with the higher ups in the museum would I could earlier we were talking about the fact, I guess it would be in the last episode now, we were talking about the fact that Dove needs a cover story because he physically would not be allowed in to the museum as a beast man. He could be on official business for the Commodore.
Yeah.
And
You can have that kind of sanction to move about. Yeah. I like that. Make a note of it. Did you already make a note of it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, cool. Very good. And then Nate, I know with Lieutenant Blackwell, we're still kind of formulating how that patron
contact
figure,
is.
yeah, that contact. So definitely give you some time to do that, and we can work that as we go, or even work on it between sessions. Let's see here. All right, Monsieur Giulio, how about your contact? What are we looking at here?
All right. So for my contact in with the Torchbearers is going to be Madame Philomena Tatham. She's the wife of a colonel and is basically just kind of this incredibly bored, jaded middle socialite, and she ends up kind of fascinating with Joy out of one of many spiritualists she's invited to a sitting, and she's probably ended up totally trashing their acts in the middle of it. But she finds something kind of interesting about Joy, like he strikes her as being kind of smarter and more above it all than most of the people she's in contact with in high society, and I think she would probably seize upon him as someone if there's this group looking for truth seekers and whatnot. So
Very cool. Very cool. Now, have we talked a little bit about your gig? Is that something that we want to kind of bring out right now, or do we want to kind of let that come out in the course of the game?
the gig, the spiritualism, or
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean my character is a spiritualist, so I imagine that business is probably going to end up playing out through. So I'm planning
Excellent.
on one of his complications being his responsibilities to, run a business and do seances and keep his contacts together.
Perfect. Gotcha. And I think that's a great connection to a contact like that, a person who is kind of jaded and looking for that kind of escapism. But then, yeah, no, it's good. Two very strong contacts right out of the gate. All right, let's move over to Ms. Miranda Russell. So what contact are you using?
All right. Lawrence Cyril Billingsley V. Haven't decided if he should be human or Eldrin yet, but he is the son of Lord and Lady Billingsley.
What a good name.
Yeah.
Right. I had so much fun making names for people. It was great.
I don't know. Byron Sotheby, Philomena Tatham.
Excuse me. That's
nothing to
Commodore.
that. Oh, sorry.
Commodore.
Yeah.
Commodore.
Charles and
Commodore.
Reagan's in here.
Byron Sotheby, thank you.
Yeah, I figured he needs a pretentious first, middle, and last name, So anyway, so he grew up with Miranda in Hong Kong. He's a few years younger than she is. His parents were there. I haven't quite determined why they would be in Hong Kong, but a lot of the nobility did travel around quite a bit. So they grew up together, and now his parents have sent him back to go to school. At what age would a young man finish with his schooling? Any ideas?
What kind of schooling is he looking to do? Is it just his letters, or is it business, or?
No, nothing in particular. Just, they send him off to officially get his education. And then probably buy him a commission at some point afterwards. So I'm just trying to determine how old he needs to be at this point.
I'd say between.
To have,
If it wasn't Navy, which would be younger. A commission can be sought at a younger age, but I think with if it's just like, is he like a commission as a particular vein of military? What are you thinking?
I hadn't decided really.
No worries.
I
no
wanted
worries.
him to be old enough to have finished school, but kind of delaying his father buying his commission at this point, so he could, have a little flat in London and be
Right.
part of society until
Okay.
his father changes his mind.
So what do you guys think?
teens.
Yeah, I was
Teens,
thinking,
early
yeah.
20s.
That last bit of high society partying and
Yeah,
Exactly,
you get
yeah.
that
Well,
done.
I think the book said the legal age was 21 back
Mhm.
then, but
Mhm.
you can. I mean, girls obviously can get married at 13 when they were still technically
Well,
underage and stuff. But,
Right.
It
It's
would
crazy.
also greatly depend on whether you'd make him Eldrin or human.
Yeah.
The life expectancy
Oh,
of
that's a good
Eldrin
point.
is significantly
Yeah.
older.
It was
I was
either
originally
19
going
or
with
112. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I was originally going with human, unless we need some Eldrin connection. So I'm happy to just stick with human.
Okay,
Um,
that works.
that's perfectly fine with me. It makes more sense in my head. So yeah, so Miranda is 26, so him being a few years younger than her would have made sense. So in
Okay.
his early 20s, and he's in London. That's her connection to what's going on in London, and also potentially to the society through maybe his father or someone else there.
Actually, it might be him, because maybe one of the
Okay.
reasons he's delaying is because he's not only seeking the whole society thing, but he's also seeking a little taste of adventure before he
That would
gets
make
into the
sense.
military.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, that's definitely gonna work. Very
Okay.
nice.
And
Very nice.
he would know, for your reference, Jeff,
Sure.
he would know some of her experiences over the last several years, but not all of them.
Right, I
So
recall
some
that
of
note
her
in your.
adventures, yeah.
I recall that note in
Okay.
your documentation, and I must say that Heather wins the dossier award as far as like just
Woo!
complete like total spread of information and stuff just across everything. But not to be outdone, everybody here is just doing a fantastic creative job with their characters. It's just amazing. But I did have to go through
Kudos
a
to
Lord of the
us.
Rings type
Round of
adventure to
applause.
read everything that Heather had written,
Not
which was
that
awesome.
long.
It was.
I got so into it. I was like, oh,
Nice.
this is how this connects. Oh,
I get done
wait,
reading
that
it and I'm
explains
thinking,
this
I
too.
feel like I've been on an epic journey. This is amazing.
The best thing is that because of the fact that she's hiding so much of it from the rest of us,
Yeah.
at some point I just imagine Jeff like getting up in the camera like, is it secret? Is it safe?
Is it safe? That's right. That's right. Perfect. But something that Mike reminded me of last night when we were recording GSP was that you are also a GM by trade, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me at all that you'd given him a book, because I always ask, I try very hard to get my players to give me a book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
No, everybody
Yeah,
is just
it
buying in.
does
This is
make
great.
a difference having run a game. I know what kind of what I would love to get from a player,
Yeah.
and I am not the best GM. I'm much better at running like a module type thing that already has some background to it. But yeah, I know what's good to give you, so I think I've given you a lot.
Oh, but no, everybody's just doing a great job. I'm just having a lot of fun sitting back and letting you guys work. So thank you for making my job easy. All right, Dr. Lum, what do we have cooking in the good doctor's brain?
Well, as I kind of indicated previously, Dr. Loom is unlikely to have had these kind of connections, both due to breeding and temperament.
Okay.
And so I've been kind of seeing, rather than creating another one,
Mostly temperament, I think.
trying to discern which one of these might have found him and lifted him up a bit and have a connection. And getting to go last year is just an embarrassment of riches, because these are all so great. I mean, we have Commodore Byron, suddenly RAF, First Wyvern Squadron, retired, who is a patron of the arts, and so he easily could have a steward or somebody that was arranging a party for one of his mini galas, and
Right.
have found a young Nimrod who showed some spunk, and he also has a history here of raising people up, right? He's Dove's former patron, and so he kind of has already an established history of taking people from the
Yeah,
middle class and rising them up.
Dove
Yeah.
had to come up with a reason that he's in the middle class because beastmen on the norm are not allowed to be in the middle class.
Right.
They are strictly lower class.
I think
So
it's a great explanation for the social anomaly. I think that was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
But
But
that,
we
you know
also
what?
have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say we also have Madame Philomentia,
Philomena. Yeah.
here, who is a bored socialite and also has access to wealth, and so I don't know if she possibly might have a mean streak in her, and maybe has some sort of grudge against Brenton, and thought that maybe throwing the butcher boy, the brilliant butcher boy, in the middle of the mix might be funny.
I see.
Ooh.
There's one thing.
It's certainly something that he would find interesting to watch.
Just to watch it
Yeah.
unfold.
There is one thing that I would think would be amazing, but it could also be a hindrance to this. Is that the good doctor would probably look at Monsieur Joy and be like, "You do realize he's full of crap, right?"
But maybe he can't because that would hurt him, right? It could be this constant sense of frustration that he knows he's full of crap, but he can't say it.
You know, but you got on something there. It's actually making me think that your experience in school, because again, you had to kind of fight your way through school. You went through some salacious rumors that were getting passed around. I don't know. There's kind of a background there that would actually speak to either Monsieur Giulio or Lieutenant Blackwell as far as like having that kind of besmirched background. But part of it's not kind of Lissa, you're part of your character's history, knowing what you know, and then Dr. Loom knowing what you know. I think there may be some kind of social common ground there, and whether that is because maybe Madame Philomena, maybe her husband had need of medical assistance of some kind, or like you, I like your idea of putting him in the mix because of the Breton connection, or is it Breton or Breton connection? So I like that. I think you should notate that and throw it in there. So,
Okay.
yeah, make a note of that, and then we can kind of flesh that out as we go. I like that a lot.
All right.
Wow, this is so good. I feel like I've made the most awesome apple pie ever, and it's just kind of like I didn't expect all the spices to mix this well. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's so cool.
Hello, my little apples.
And actually, I should actually say some pot pie, because my wife is in the other room right now putting together lunch for tomorrow, and she's making this awesome pot pie with all these different ingredients, and I'm just like, oh honey, it just smells so awesome. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. I'm liking what I'm smelling. That's all I gotta say. That's really good. If you kids at home, if only you had smell-o-vision, it'd be so awesome. Well, watch out. You never know. Version 2 of the Oculus Rift, that might do it. Okay. I think that we are ready to embark on the first scene with our characters. And my plan, and I'll have you guys kind of think about this for a little bit, and we may go ahead and cut this episode early and then launch into the episode proper after going into the next episode. We'll just go ahead and launch into the episode proper. But my thought is that we are going to open up in a scene where you guys first met. And I know that there was a line that was dropped 2 episodes ago about noodles, and I would like to explore that just a smidge.
What?
There's some form of noodle incident that's involved with all of you that is going to come into play with your backgrounds. So, yeah, I think we're gonna do that. I wanted to kind of hear how this kind of formulated and how everybody was bringing their characters together, and I think it's going to fit pretty well. We'll give it a shot. If it gets a little clunky, then we can always break out of scene and then start going into the adventure proper. So
I would love it if you actually created the noodle incident.
it's been boiling in my mind right now, and I'm about ready to put it into
The noodles are boiling.
I'm putting it
noodles
into
are
the
boiling.
strainer. I've added the oil, I added the salt. It's all just ready to go. But yeah, I think we'll do that. I think we're going to do that. So everybody at home, I think what will end up happening is I'll put out a trio of episodes. So a first episode was starting the society. This episode kind of fleshing out the connections, how the contacts are bringing our characters together. And then we're going to have an intro episode into the first session. And we'll start things off with a little flashback. So thanks a lot, you guys, for joining up. Stay tuned for the next episode. If you're going to wait a little while, roll some dice in between now and then. Have some fun. We'll talk to you all soon.